Hello, welcome to the refrigerator pickle making session. Nana, this is for you. Now, for this recipe, it does say this will make about 4 quarts of pickles. So you would need 4 1-quart jars with lids, or more if they're smaller. I am a use what you have kind of girl, so I have a giant jar and I have a small jar currently available with the appropriate size lids. Also, for this, because there are refrigerator pickles, you don't have to use a canning jar. You can use anything as long as it has like a sealed, closable lid. 2 quarts of water is the same thing as 8 cups. 4, 6, 8. 1 cup white vinegar. I've tried it before with apple cider vinegar and it was disgusting. 1 cup. Pickling salt. 1/2 cup is way too much. 1/4 cup, even a little bit less than a 1/4 cup, is great. Pickling salt is not gonna be cakey. It's gonna dissolve very easily. Here's my 1/4 cup of pickling salt. Get a quick stir. You want this to come to a full boil and dissolve the salt. While you're waiting for it to come to a boil, you can start prepping your cucumbers. You can decide how you want to cut them up, if you want to do slices or spears. We're at a full boil here, so I'm going to turn this off and let it sit. I'm going to do some spears, but also some of my more funky ones I'll just do like sandwich slices. So this is 5.5 cucumbers so far. I still have some, but I'm getting kind of concerned about my small jar space. So I'm gonna pause and go ahead and fill the seasonings in the bottoms of the jars that I need and start fitting these in and see how we're doing. So it says in the bottom of the jar, put dill and some fronds and stems. I'm using a shaker of dill, not the fresh stuff, because that's what I have. And garlic, I have some minced garlic I'm going to put in the bottom. I also do have mustard seeds, so I will use a pinch of those. And I don't have peppercorns right now. And even though I don't have peppercorns, I do have black pepper oil, which leaves an awesome flavor. So I'm going to put a drop of that in there. Also, I have dill, so I'm going to put a drop of that too. All right, here's my minced garlic. Just putting a bit in the bottom and a bit in this one. This is the black pepper oil. 2 drops in the large and 2 or 3 went in that one too. All right, that'll be good. Got our dill. Let's see. 1, 2, and 1 in there. Mustard seed. I don't really know if this adds very much flavor or not, but there's some. And there's some. Still, we're gonna be pretty generous. There's a good smattering there. And good bit there. At the very end, you're gonna add more of your seasonings on top. So if you feel like, I don't know if that was quite enough, you're adding more at the very end anyway. You can lay the jar down a bit at an angle as you're putting in the pickles and trying to, fit in as many as you possibly can when you're lining them up. I still have a little bit of room up here, so I'm gonna cut up a little bit more pickles. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna put my sliced ones in the small jar. I'm not really going to worry too much about like a method to this one. I'm just gonna put them in there and see how it goes. Shove however many I can. For this one, that's probably pretty good. It's got some space because I want to cover it with the brine and have a little room, not have the pickles all the way up to the top of the jar so the brine can completely cover them. Okay, that was just enough room for me to add 1 more pickles worth of spears, or 1 more cucumber. And I have more space at the top of this jar, so you could chop some and put them on top in smaller chunks, or you could do slices on top and fill it up, you know, a couple more inches in the jar. Or you could just say, you know what, I'm gonna be done with that, which is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna save these other, I have 4 cucumbers left, but I'll just use them in the next couple of days with salad. And also we sometimes like to do cucumber sliced with a little bit of cream cheese and everything bagel seasoning on top as like an appetizer or a side dish with dinner. So I'm going to not pickle these last 4. Okay, going back in with a little bit more seasoning. We got some garlic going on top of the big jar, some garlic going on top of the little jar. And I'm getting pretty low on garlic here. I'm gonna do another scoop for the big one. That wasn't very much. You know what? We really like garlic. It's fine. Okay. And then the dill. Do a little extra dill on top. Pause. All right, going in with more dill on top of each. I'll show you. Like, there it is. Some mustard seeds again. Not really sure if this is adding anything. Maybe. And now it's time to pour the vinegar mixture liquid. So I've had the pot just sitting over here. It's still got steam coming off of it, so it's still going to be hot. So you need to be careful when you're pouring it. What I do is I put the jars in the bottom of the sink and then pour slowly on top, and I use a kitchen towel around the edges of the pot to try not to burn my fingies. All right, we're gonna pour until they are covered. All right. Can you see? Okay, and now I'm gonna do the little. I have some leftover liquid because, you know, small amount of pickles happening here compared to what the recipe was for. Last time when I made pickles, I knew it was gonna be a smaller batch, so I halved everything and it turned out great. Like, it worked just fine having the recipe. But in this case, since I knew I was using this super large jar, I wasn't sure if I halved it, if it would be not enough brine. So I went ahead and made the full recipe, but you can easily half this if you're doing smaller batches. I do want to add a little extra zip to the smaller slices of pickles. So I'm gonna slit 2 serrano peppers with a knife and put them in there too. So I just want a little bit of zippiness. Not too spicy, but a little bit of something fun in there. So I was debating using those. I should have put them in there before I added the liquid, just so that I wouldn't run the risk of hurting my fingers by touching hot water. But I just decided at the last minute that I did want to add. A couple of these guys are floating toward the top. That's fine. I'm gonna put the lids on them. I'm not gonna screw them super tight, but I'm gonna put that on there, put that on there. I'm gonna move these up to the counter. I'm gonna wipe the bottom of them, and I'm just gonna let them sit on the counter for 2 days. Lovely. After 2 days, you put them in the refrigerator. You can take a Sharpie and write on top what date you made them. This says to leave them at least 2 weeks before you open them in the refrigerator, but I find that they're pretty tasty even after a couple of days in the refrigerator. And lastly, they typically last for a couple months. This way, in the fridge, they are not, you didn't do the full canning process where you could keep them out in the pantry or anything like that. These are refrigerator pickles, so they're a little bit easier, faster, kind of thing. Low risk of messing them up, and they taste really good. Typically, I do find if you have whole peppercorns and you put like 3 in the bottom of the jar, 2 on the top of the jar, or vice versa, it does add a really nice little peppery zip to your pickles, which I enjoy. I just ran out of peppercorns and don't have them right now. But that is something that is an optional add-on in this recipe that I actually do recommend and normally like to have. Hopefully, since I used a couple drops of the black pepper oil, I'll get that same effect. It's not gonna be super spicy or anything because that's a big jar, but it's just gonna add a little more complexity in the flavors. It's just gonna taste good. I have used fresh dill before. The last time I went to the grocery store earlier this week, I couldn't find any. So I just went with, my jar. Just, use what you have, make it work. Tim Gunnett. I don't remember the original author of the recipe that I started with and took inspiration from. Otherwise, I would give them credit. But I hope this video was helpful and that you can make some yummy refrigerator pickles now.